Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. All right, and welcome back. Real excited to be joined by the guests that we got joining us today. It's been a long time coming, but we finally got together and got together, man. I'm joined by former WKU football player and current chef, CJ Marria, man. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you joining me.
I appreciate you for having me, bro.
Now, you are a defensive end with the Hilltoppers. Looks like from 2019 to 21. When I was looking back at your career, your stats, your bio, some really good football teams, obviously, especially that 21 team, man. So would love to jump into your football career a little bit, but I want to take it back, a little bit further than that, because I like to hear this story, from every single guest we have, because every, body that comes to Western, their story is a little bit different about why they came. So, take us back to, even your high school career, when you realize, like, maybe this is more than just a football game. This is something that might take me places, might pay for my education.
Right.
There might be another level to this after high school. When did that happen for you? And, that it might be something that you can pursue into college.
Right. So for me personally, first I just want to say thank you again for having me, bro. For me personally, I was a basketball player. I played basketball in high school all 4 years. I kind of got away from football, so I didn't play football my freshman year of high school, my sophomore year of high school. I didn't play football at all. I jumped back into football as a junior. So my 11th grade year, I jumped back into football, and it it immediately took off for me personally. Recruitment started. So after my junior year, I had already started getting offers, Division One. So that's where it kind of picked up. So that's where I kind of realized, like, man, I probably can go to college for free. Um, and like I said, I was playing basketball still play basketball. My school, we were a really good basketball team. 2 state championships, 3 appearances. Like we had a track record for being a basketball school. But my junior year, we had a really good football team. We made it all the way to the Elite Eight. I'm a Georgia boy, so anything about Georgia football, it's tough. So we made it to the Elite Eight my junior year. We had a very talented team, several guys. We had some ESPN top 300 guys, like we were stacked. Um, but playing with those guys who were older than me at the time, and seeing, just the level of competition and how they went about their days and, how they approached the game, it helped me a lot. And that's when I knew, like, I probably can go to school for free. And like I said, after that, I started getting the offers. And by senior year, I was blessed. I had over 20 offers, all Division One, had Power Five, Group of Five. I had a lot of it, so I was blessed. I was ranked like a 3-star prospect, and that's the only 2 years of playing. So I was blessed. It was a good situation. What brought me to Western? I took a couple visits, and I went to Mississippi State. I went to Middle Tennessee. Uh, everybody don't want to hear that, but I actually took a trip to
Oh
Middle.
gosh, every interview we do, they talk to Middle Tennessee. God,
Yeah,
I'm glad you wore red.
yep. I went to Middle. I actually took an official to Middle. It was actually the week before I came to Western. So I went to Middle first, then I came to Western, and Western just felt like home. It was one of those places where when I got to Bowling Green is, it's a tight knit community, but they support the school, they support the teams. At the time, the head coach was Sanford, the D line coach was Coach Lindsey, Jimmy Lindsey, who I had a former relationship with when he was at Georgia Southern during my recruitment process. So when he went to Western, I kind of looked at Western again, took my visit. I fell in love with it. My parents came, they liked it, they loved the town. Um, so I was like, you know what? I like it here. So, I committed, and it's one of the best decisions I made in my life. I committed class of 2017, actually. I came there in 2017, but I had surgery back to back. So I kind of sat out those first 2 years rehabbing and stuff like that. And I was able to start playing in 2019 where you seen it. And that was my first taste of college football, and I loved it. Uh, Football is a beautiful game. You know, it's got me to where I am. You know, I always tell people it's not always about the ball. It's about the connections you make and the people you meet. So for me, it became that. It became the connections I made, the people I met that helped me get to where I am now, being a chef and doing the things that I'm doing in life. So it's good, bro. It was a good process for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I didn't realize that you only played high school ball, those last 2 years. That
Yep.
makes it even more impressive because, one of the first things I did, I went to your bio on WKU Sports. I went to your
Yep.
247 page and I saw
Hmm.
that lengthy list of offers that you had. And
Yep.
like you said, G5, P5, just everything. You had a lot of options in front of you. And
Right.
obviously, I'm glad you chose WKU.
For
You're
sure.
literally you're the third guest. We had Nante Davis on last year. He talked to middle.
Okay. Yep.
We had Rodney Howard on. He talked to middle.
Okay.
But hey, we're in that same recruiting grounds. We're battling for the
Yep.
same people, same guys. And if I went to their campus and then I went to ours, biasly,
You would pick Western.
I would pick Western
Hey.
every single time. Man, it's
Yeah, man.
not even a question. Not
No
even a
question,
question.
bro.
Yeah, so you were here, kind of that changing of the guard.
Yep.
We went from Coach Sanford, which I have no ill will. I have nothing bad to say about Coach Sanford.
Right.
He was a young guy about my age, maybe in over his head a little sooner than he needed to
Right.
be. Obviously, now we've flipped the script. We're with Coach Helt now. He's had
Yep.
a lot of immediate success.
Right.
What would you say it was like playing for Coach Helton?
Helton is he's a guy. You know what I'm saying? He's a player's coach. You know, he gonna shoot it to you straight. He gonna keep it honest with you. And he give you that real, like players seek that. You know what I'm saying? When you coming out of high school and you in high school, you always praised as being, that guy, the best player. You coming out of high school, you 3-star, two, whatever it may be, you got offers. You always get that praise. Helton was the kind of guy he's gonna give you a reality check, which we all needed. Like he gonna keep it honest with you. He gonna shoot it to you straight. I remember when he first got the job in our first meeting with him. His opening statement was earn the right to be treated different. And for a lot of guys, it was kind of like, I don't know if I like that. You know what I'm saying? But for me personally, like I understood what he meant, and it spoke volumes to the kind of man he was and you know what I'm saying, or the man he is. Uh so it made us, like you said, it made us want to play for him and it showed immediate success as soon as he got there. So he's a great coach, man. I'm always rooting for the tops. I love Helton, the staff. He keeps good guys in, you know. So I know even though the guys that's there now, I didn't play for them, but I know the caliber of people he liked to bring in the building. You know what I'm saying? Just from being there for his first couple years when I was there. So mad respect for Helton. Good guy, bro. And I think, he'd be there for a while and they'll continue to experience success.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I didn't realize that you were recruited by Jimmy Lindsay, but thinking back to it, he was definitely that Georgia pipeline guy. So it's not
Yeah.
really surprising, man. Jimmy Lindsay was
Nope.
that dude. I know he went on to LSU, I believe it was. He's had some health
Yep.
problems. Obviously, we're thinking and praying for Coach
Yep.
Lindsay and hoping he's okay. Now, I'm not trying to lean you one way or another with this answer. We've talked
Go
about
ahead.
middle a little bit now, but what would you say from a player's perspective inside the locker room? Who
Right.
would you say was our biggest rival during your playing days?
Uh, I would say I would give it to Middle or Marshall. Middle is, the school down the street. You know what I'm saying? It's the close school. A lot of the guys that go to Western probably went to Middle, like me. Took their visits there, were recruited heavily by that staff, and it just builds that, that animosity for each other. You know what I'm saying? But I will say that Middle in my years there, I don't think it was ever really much comp. You know what I'm saying? So I give it to Marshall. Now Marshall games were a little bit different. Marshall a little bit farther, but I remember Marshall games. I remember every year we played Marshall, it was always a down to the wire type game. Whether we won or lost, it was one of those games where guys just wanted to win. You know what I'm saying? Like the will to win when we played Marshall, it was just a little bit different. And it was a good rivalry. Like I enjoyed playing there, playing at Western. It was one of those real tough rivalries. You know what I'm saying? Equally, not equally matched. I feel like we were better, but in those rivalry games, anything can happen, you know? So I think the Marshall in my years there was probably better fought than the middle. I mean, middle was kind of little brother, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
we just trip down memory road. We've won 5 in a row versus Middle Tennessee. We've won 9 of the last 12 versus Middle Tennessee. So, like you
right.
said, little bro.
Yeah, little bro
Um,
for sure.
yeah, the Marshall rivalry, when we were still together in Conference USA, they definitely were kind of that. They kind of, I
Yeah,
don't want to say they took their place, but it just elevated because every game we played with them, like you said, came down to the wire,
yep,
had championship game implications tied to it.
yep.
And as a former member of the Moonshine Throwdown podcast that I did before this one, um,
Okay.
I see both sides of it, man. Middle's
Yeah,
that historical rival. Marshall was that more relevant, actually a competitive game.
a
So
competitive game,
yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. Because middle, I mean, we're gonna tear them up. I know they got a new
Yeah,
staff, Coach Mason and everybody, so maybe they'll get better. But
yeah.
I
Right now, it's
still,
still little bro, man.
yeah, I still expect to go down there and hang 40 on them and walk out there with a dub. So
Man, easy.
how much, now that your playing days are over, you're into your career now. How much do you get to keep up with the Hilltoppers these days?
I still watch, bro. I watch. You know, I'm ESPN Plus. I'm tuned in. A couple of guys that I hosted on my visit, and were there when I was there. They're older now, but a couple of those younger guys when I was there, they still there. So I still keep up, man. I'm still tuned in. I know we lost a couple this off season, but it's a couple guys that's still there, that's holding it down, and I'm still tuned in with them. Talk to them sometimes. So I'm still tuned in, bro. I mean, I love Western, bro. Like it they helped me a lot. You know what I'm saying? Bowling Green, West Kentucky helped me a lot. I always tell people that.
Yeah,
Even though, my playing career may have not went where we thought it went, but my life went where I thought it was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still tuned in, bro. I'm waiting for the season now. Like basketball is over. I'm waiting for college football to come back. I'm West Kentucky fan. That's my team on ESPN app. I'm getting all the updates. Like it's just what I do. I mean, once you're there, you've been through it. You know what I'm saying? You build a love for it. So I'm supporting all the way.
yeah, we got to get you back in Bowling Green. Come check out this
Yeah,
new turf we got, and this,
man, I seen it.
yeah, this Hilltopper field house that they're about to start building, man. It's gonna be tough next year. I think
I
it's
already
after
know it.
next season is when that's supposed to open, man.
Yep,
We got to get you back to check out a game back in person.
for sure.
I got to hear your thoughts on this because the whole landscape of college football has really changed. Since you entered college and was changing as you were exiting, I guess you could
Right.
say, with name, image, and likeness, the transfer
hmm
portal just exploding. What are your thoughts on those two factors and just how they've completely changed college football for better or for worse? Just any perspective you have on it.
Honestly, well, I take it from a player's perspective. I love it. I love it for the players. It's power to the players. You know what I'm saying? Kids is able to get NIL deals, make money, off their image, they face, what I'm saying, what they doing on the field, they getting rewarded. It's no more just pats on the backs, good jobs. It's dollars in your pocket. And you know what I'm saying? And from a player's perspective, I think that's beautiful. The transfer portal as well. I mean, some kid, you get in situations to where you may have thought the school was for you. It might didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of kids that transfer and flourish at their next school. You know what I'm saying? Able to play right away, being able to shop around, and it's almost kind of like a pro aspect. You know what I'm saying? It provides that professional aspect to college. It's pros and cons to it. I know it's a coach's headache. You know what I'm saying? I know it is because you got kids that are seeking money. You got kids, for whatever reason it may be, but it's not. It's more than just playing time. You know what I'm saying? It's deeper. But you never know people's situations, so you never can really judge a kid for a decision you make. And honestly, at the end of the day, I say kids, but they're not kids. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about 19, 21, 22, 23-year-olds in some cases. Like they may have families. You never know what the situation may be. So I think for the power for the player, it's a beautiful thing, and I think it's a long time coming, and it's deserved for the kids. Like it's no way that for all these years that these athletes been playing for these, universities and colleges and whatever, and making these places so much money, and you can leave broke. You know what I'm saying? Like you can graduate, you can play 5 years, 4 years, you can get hurt, and you can go back home with nothing. And I think that's the beauty in it now. Like these kids are able to capitalize on their talents, because I mean that's essentially what it is. You capitalizing on your own talent. Um, so I think it's a good thing. Like I said, it is pros and cons to it. But I think overall, people get caught up in the who's going here and this and that. But I think overall it's a good thing. It's a good thing for football. And it's allowing kids to, make decisions that 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you weren't able to make before. You was kind of stuck in your situation.
Yeah.
So
Well,
now it's kind of opening up for them.
yeah, I think kids now, I mean, they can do what every other college student can do. They can make some money while they're in college. And that,
Right.
when I look at NIL and guys being able to, profit off of it, I mean,
Mhm.
these are guys, student athletes, yourself included, back when you were playing. I mean, their commitment of time, not only to their school and academics, but to football and film and study
Mhm.
and rehab and meetings and weight training and just everything you had to do. You don't have that opportunity to go out and get a job and
Nope.
make some money. And I
Nope.
really realized that last year. We went to interview an active player. Kind of,
Mhm.
me and him were going back and forth trying to figure out time, like you and I have with,
Yeah.
just having a life and job and kids, etc. It keeps you
It's
busy.
hard.
Yeah, and I said, all right, I said, hey, tell me when you're available. And he sent me a screenshot of his calendar, that's broken out into 15, 30-minute increments.
Yeah.
The only time he had available during the day for a week was his meal breaks, and that
Yeah.
was like an hour. And I was like, I'm not going to take this guy's meal break. Like
Yeah.
he needs to unwind, relax, get some food, some nourishment. I was like, hey man, maybe sometime when you're free or during a dead period we can do this, but you're busy. I get it. And
Yeah. It's tough.
I don't think the casual fan understands
Nope.
the commitment and the amount of time. It's a full-time job. So
Yeah. Plus overtime. That's what I always tell people.
plus
It's
overtime.
a full time plus overtime, bro.
And you ain't getting time and a half for that, I guarantee you.
No, sir.
And the transfer portal, we've been benefactors on the
Mhm.
positive and negative side of the transfer portal.
Yep.
My thoughts on it is we always celebrate these guys that come in, the Bailey Zappies, the Jared Stearns, these
Mhm.
guys that have come in and made huge impacts. So I'm not going to fault any player. Like you said,
Right.
there's situations, there's playing time, there's family needs, there's location, there's just so many things that go into that decision. In my opinion, and the stance I'm going to take is I'm going to celebrate the transfer portal no matter what.
Yeah.
When you leave Western, if you ever came to Western and put WKU on your chest and
Right.
represented our school, my school, your school,
Right.
I'm going to cheer for you. I'm going to keep up with you. I'm going to hope
For
you go to
sure.
you go to your next location. I hope you ball out.
Right.
That's my opinion. I know some people hate it and don't like it, but like you said, player power.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I
Nope.
love it. Now, during your playing days, as we talk about, having free time and, being able to have a job and make a little money, during your playing time here, we got to see the WKU Herald wrote that article about you,
Mhm.
doing some cooking in your dorm, in your apartment,
Yeah,
feeding the
man.
team, making a little money. So, tell us about that, that article coming out and just, where your love for cooking began.
Man. So yeah, like you said before NIL and all that, I kind of cracked the code a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I figured out a way to put some money in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Um, and that's what I did. I like you said, I was selling plates out of my apartment. Making money on the weekends. Just like I said, you in college, you don't have time to work. You know what I'm saying? We're not afforded the opportunity to have a job. And for me personally, I had already had a child. So my son was born my freshman year. Um, so I had responsibilities. Like I had things that I had to take care of with him, and I had to make sure that I was there and able to provide because that's what fathers do. So on the back end of me being in school, thank God for my parents and my support system, but I still needed a little extra money for myself. Like I had to make a way. So I was raised around food. Like I grew up, my grandparents from down South Georgia. I grew up big family gatherings, grandma cooking, granddad cooking, auntie, uncles. Like that's how I grew up. Like we ate good. And that's just something I knew. I didn't know that it would take me this far, but I knew they would put some dollars in my pocket at the time. You know what I'm saying? I just had to figure it out. So I mapped it out. I figured out what days, what I was gonna cook, how much it cost. I was doing all that, untrained, untaught, just off the strength of just growing up around food.
Yeah.
And as I continued doing it, I kind of learned the business aspect of it, and it's kind of got me to where I am now. But yeah, during that time at Western, like it was beautiful, bro. Like I'm cooking on Saturdays after the game sometime or during the off season. You know what I'm saying? It was cool. Like, if you want to eat good, call CJ. Like, we gonna make it happen. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where when I started to notice, like, maybe I got, kind of a talent for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I kind of just took it from there and just went on with it up until, now. So it's been good, bro. It's been good. It's
Yeah.
been a blessing. And, I always shout out Bowling Green. I always thank Western Kentucky, like, because that's where it started for me. I just dropped a video on Instagram a couple weeks ago, like, showing respect. Like that's where it started for me. The people in Bowling Green, the students, my teammates, my coaches sometimes, like, you'd be surprised at the kind of people that was coming to my door getting plates, bro. Like you'd be like, man, for real? Like, yeah, like that's what we was doing. So it was cool, bro. It was real cool. And I always anchor my business and the way I go about business from that aspect. Like, you know, just a kid trying to make a dollar, but at the same time, it took me a long way. Took me a
Yeah.
long way.
Now I heard your hot wings were a commodity back in those days in the
Man,
in the
$10
dorm.
plates, baby. $10
Hey,
plates, you can't beat it.
hey, if you are still in Bowling Green, I don't if you listening right now and you don't follow Chef C on Instagram and you see his stories of his food and his wings and just any spread he puts out, I'm telling you,
Yeah,
I've
man.
told him in DM like I can't watch your story when I'm hungry because when I'm hungry, I'm like, man, why ain't you in Bowling Green right now? Because I would be calling you for a plate, a meal prep, something. Because man, your food
Right.
always looks
I
just
appreciate that,
amazing,
bro. I
top
appreciate it.
notch. So this next question, I'm going to leave it open for interpretation from you, however you want to look at it and answer it. So would you say that you are a better football player or that you're a better cook now?
That's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I'm gonna take the modest. I mean, I'm gonna say I'm a better chef. I'm a better chef. Not that I was a bad football player, you know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, but I'm just say I'm a better chef for this one reason. I was able to make a living cooking. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't able to really make a living playing football. Now, was I a good football player? Do I think so? Yeah. If you ask some people, they probably say yeah, but I wasn't able to reach the pinnacle and make a living out of it. And, I'm an honest person. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like shining. No, like, I'm gonna be honest about it. Like, I wasn't able to make a living out of it. Like, I was able to go to college. I was able to get a degree. You know what I'm saying? Graduate. I did, what I needed to do, but I made a living out of cooking. You know what I'm saying? Like, cooking has brought me a long way. It's blessed my family. Like, being able to provide, being able to, the things we want, the things we need. You know what I'm saying? I could do that, and that's through the kitchen. So I'm gonna definitely say I'm a better chef than a football player, man. Sadly, but yeah, it's a blessing.
Now, I could have seen that answer going either way because one, I
Yeah,
think you're a really good cook just from what I can see. I've never tasted a dish, but for it
right.
looks amazing.
It,
But
it, it tastes just like it look. I promise.
the other side of that is, you are a Division 1 athlete. You're like
Right,
the 1% of the 1% of the thousands and thousands of high schoolers that make it to that level.
right.
I mean, you're a 1% of a 1% that make it to that level, and it's 1% of that makes it to the NFL or a pro level.
Exactly,
So I
exactly.
think you could have went either way and not been wrong there. Just
Right.
pat yourself on the back. You took the modest way out, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that says a lot about you either way, that you're a good dude overall. So, um, what would you say inspires your cooking and your dishes when you're putting them together?
Uh, well, for one, inspiration for me always came from my grandmother. And if anybody's ever read that newspaper article, I mentioned her in that as well. My grandmother, she brought the family together through her food. You know what I'm saying? Like, food to me growing up was, I knew if it was gonna be food, I knew I was gonna see my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. Like, I knew family was involved with it. You know what I'm saying? No meal was just eaten by myself. Like, I knew that I would see the people I love the most, and that's what my grandma did for our family. Me growing up, just throwing down on Sundays, and what I'm saying, stuff like that. Like, So that's where I get a lot of my inspiration from. You know what I'm saying? Seeing her in the kitchen, like I was that little kid at grandma's house, you know, in the kitchen trying to get a piece of this, trying to taste this. Like that was me. You know what I'm saying? So grandma definitely one of my biggest inspirations as far as cooking goes, man. Um, and then for me personally, like my inspiration as far as the stuff I create, you know, I'm kind of just I'm learning as I go and I'm trying stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm being creative. Like I'm just letting my brain work. You know what I'm saying? I've always been an intellectual person. You know, I always been a deep thinker, and you know what I'm saying. So cooking allows me to kind of. I always tell people cooking is art. You know, it's no really one way to do something. It's no, you know, set mode to where you have to do this a certain way because at the end of the day, you can do something 10 different ways, it still might taste the same. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it allows me to just express myself in a way that, you know, most people, you know, it's cooking, it's not really, but for me, it's like, all right, it's a way for me to express myself and how I feel and how I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying? What I'm going, like, I'm able to relax fully in the kitchen, you know, like, if anybody ever seen me cook or been around when I'm cooking, like, I'm real relaxed, you know what I'm saying? I'm unfazed, I'm like in a zone, it's like taking me somewhere that, you know, I don't know, it's euphoria, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what it is for me, it's just a way for me to get away and create, you know what I'm saying, like from an artist standpoint. I remember my senior year, I got an internship at Fresh, the cafeteria on campus. And paid internship, you know, they kind of got word that I was cooking, you know, after the newspaper article. So they was able to join that team and learn from the older people that had been to culinary school, that had been these places and cooked for this and this and that. And they let me do the saute station. Power bowls, whatnot, whatever it was. And I just remember like lines of students, 100 people, 200 people, and it was just 4 burners, and it was just me. You know what I'm saying? And I would get in that zone, and like I'm just going in. Like I remember, like after a couple weeks, the general manager of Fresh was like, "Man, look, you're killing it." Like you know what I'm saying? Like pat on the back, like it was just, and to me, I was just, you know, I was in the zone. I was just kind of enjoying what I was doing. You know, I wasn't really, it was work, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, like when you love what you do, it's really not work, you know? So that's kind of where I got it from and kind of just how I go about it and how I feel about it. So it's a beautiful thing, bro. I'm 100% happy at what I do. I love doing it. And honestly, I don't know why I haven't been doing this, but you know, everything happened for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm glad you brought back up the Herald article because I remember both of those details. Grandma letting you cook breakfast first, you know,
Yeah,
getting the foot in the door, letting you do
right.
something, and then the internship at Fresh, man, that had to be a huge just stepping stone of
Yep.
realizing what it takes and what you can do. So I'm going to link that Herald article in the description of this episode so that anybody reading or listening can go back and check that out because obviously that came out several years ago. But I want people to be able to go back and see where you started,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
when they keep up and catch up with you where you are now, man, it's been an
Right.
amazing transformation.
Yeah, man.
I've got to ask, what is your favorite dish to prepare right now?
And you know what? That's the hardest question for me to ever answer all the time. People ask me this all the time. Uh, I would say right now, my favorite thing to make um, is scampi pasta. That's like my new addiction. Like I love making it, whether it's shrimp, lobster, scallop, whatever it may be. It's kind of like my favorite thing to make. Pasta is something that I made a lot in college as well. You know, that was one of my plates that I used to make, like a little pasta. But that pasta now and this pasta I'm making today, two completely different things. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just the practice and the learning. You know, I'm always learning, you know, because I've never been to culinary school. You know what I'm saying? Despite what people may see on my page, and you know, you might think like, man, this guy, you know, he's nice. But I've never been to school for none of this stuff. So I've kind of taught myself everything. And I've learned from people that are more experienced than me. You know, I've always been a sponge in the room. I may be the biggest guy in the room, but I'm never the loudest. I'm always listening. Um, and that's just kind of how I've gone about it far as my cooking career, just kind of learning. You know, always been open to learning different ways. I learned a lot working in Fresh. I learned a lot working where I work now on set. in the film industry. Like I've learned a lot from people that are older than me that have been doing this a little bit longer than me. You know, like I said, being a sponge is got me to where I am. So, but definitely scampi pasta, bro. Like I'm loving the scampi. I think I made some last week. Like it's just, I don't know, it's good. It's quick, you know what I'm saying? But it's got that delicate, that gourmet taste to it. You know what I'm saying? It don't take much, but it's just got an elevated flavor. You know what I'm saying? Using fresh ingredients. You know, it's one of them things where I'm kind of stuck on it right now. I go through phases where I get stuck on stuff, and I just like to make it a lot, and then I switch over. I make something different. Before scampi, truth be told, it's probably grits. And if you like grits, like how many ways can you make grits? Well, I got a couple different ways I can make some grits for you. You know what I'm saying? So it just go through little phases and trying to figure out stuff. Before grits, it was steak. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of trying to master different things. So when it's time to do this stuff, you know I can put my best foot forward with no doubt. So it's kind of where I'm at right now.
Man, I love that because I have seen your shrimp pasta on your story, and oh my god, it looks good. I'm also going to drop my address in the description so you can
Ah,
send so you can send that over. No,
yeah, man.
I'm joking with you, man. At some point though, we're going to link up, whether you come to Bowling Green or I come to Atlanta. It's going to
Yeah,
happen.
it's gonna happen.
Now, this next question, this is kind of a broad picture, but where do you see the Chef C brand, or what are your goals for where you want to take this? Say in the next 3 to 5 years, where do you want to take this thing to as far as your career and your business?
In the next 3 to 5, bro, I honestly, so right now I work in film, outside of doing my business. So I work in film. I work in the film industry here in Atlanta. I work on movie sets, TV shows, doing the same thing, feeding the crew, the actors, cooking on set for everybody, kind of just doing my thing. But in the next couple of years, I want to be able to stand alone on Chef C's Kitchen, the brand. You know what I'm saying? I want to be a standalone on that with catering, meal prep services, just different venues. I want to be able to, in a year or two, give back to my community where I'm from. Helping out the kids. I've done a lot of stuff for the local high schools. My high school that I went to, and that right there is fulfilling. You know what I'm saying, for me. Being able to go to my old high school and prepare a meal for the football team or the basketball team. Like I've done that, and those little events like that are very fulfilling for me. But I want to be able to stand alone on my brand. I want to be able to be a household name when they're talking about catering services and private chef work, and I want to be the guy that people are looking for. I want to be I won't say I want to be a celebrity chef, but I want to be known for that. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be flying across the country doing events for different people of status, you know what I'm saying, people of power, and just in those spaces. You know what I'm saying? Like those people got to eat, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody got to eat. You know what I'm saying? That's another reason why I got into this. Everybody got to eat. So I would say short term, that's kind of my goal. Long term, like 10, 15 years, like, I want to do the restaurant thing, you know what I'm saying? I want to do a restaurant, different concepts and stuff like that, you know, but that's when you're talking about the restaurant business and the food industry, it's kind of a shaky subject when you're talking about brick and mortar, restaurant type stuff. But next 3 to 5 though, bro, I want to be standing alone on my brand and my catering, meal preps, just all the services that I provide, that you see on my page. I want that to just be the staple. I want to be, when you come to Atlanta, like vacation, whatever it is, like, man, we want a vacation in Atlanta. We want to hire a chef. Like I want my name to just jump off the charts. Like, oh yeah, that's the guy. You got to get him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the goal, bro. And I know it just comes with time, patience, but I know it's work that I have to put in. It's things that I have to do. So it's a process, but I'm locked into the process, and I'm all for the grind. You know what I'm saying? I've never been afraid of the work, and I know that's all it takes. It's just work. So I'm looking forward to the future, but I'm also enjoying the present. You know what I'm saying? I'm living in the moment.
Absolutely, man. And I'm a big proponent of speaking things into existence, man. I
For
think
sure.
if you put it out there and you make it a known goal to your circle, your family, your people, they're just going to push you, and you're going to push yourself to make that happen, man. So I
Right.
love that you shared that. because I think you have the ability to do anything and everything that you want to do. You've already proven that. And I guarantee when you're doing those events for your school, the basketball team, football team, man, you are probably inspiring some kids
Yeah.
that see somebody from their area that went and played college football D1, and
Right.
now you're running your own business, man. It's
Right.
inspirational to kids coming out of high school that don't know what they're going to do.
Right.
That you can go out there and do whatever you want. So, man, I love you. Speaking that into existence, man. I'm here for it, and you already know I follow you, so I'm going to watch it
Yeah.
happen. I'm going to
Yeah,
watch it
man.
happen.
It's gonna happen, bro. I'm telling you, it's coming, man. It's coming. It's coming.
Now, before I let you get out of here, man, you talked about some of your services that you provide earlier, but go ahead and plug your socials. Where can people find you? Tell us about your services that you offer. Where can they find you and get linked up with Chef C to get a plate?
Man, for all the people watching, man, all my socials are the same. Chef C underscore kitchen and the number one. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm number one. Like, it's coming. I'm telling you. Like, but that's all my socials, man. Chef C underscore kitchen, the number one. Um, Anywhere there's food, we can provide it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of my motto. Like, whether it's business meetings, baby showers, birthday parties, anniversaries, whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? If somebody hungry, they want some food, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? No matter how big or how small the event may be. Um, I provide meal prep services for anybody, trying to lose weight, trying to gain weight, trying to maintain weight. All of my guys and women that play sports, that's on a, off-season training program, in-season training program. I got meal preps for that. I ship meal preps. If you go look at some of my videos, I ship meal preps to Detroit. I've shipped meal preps to different places. Shout out to Broderick Martin, Detroit Lions. That's my guy. I think I got a video about him on there. I shipped him meal prep during his off-season work, all the way to Detroit, man. So the services, they revolve around food. Obviously, anything food related, I can make it happen. So that's kind of where I'm at. And follow me on all my socials. You know what I'm saying? Follow me on this journey, man, because it's gonna be a journey, but we going for sure. Like, we going to the top. It's gonna happen. And I love all the people from Bowling Green, all the Western students that was supporting me back then, that still support me now. You know what I'm saying? Anybody new that's following, I'm a guy. You know what I'm saying? I follow back. I show love. Like, that's just how I am. That's just who I am. But yeah, Chef C's Kitchen, man, it's something to look out for. It's on the rise, and it's big things coming, man. It's big things coming for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm warning you now. If you follow him on Instagram, you are going to be hungry constantly
Hey,
because this man puts out some videos and some food that looks amazing, man. I appreciate you joining me, telling your story, just telling about where you came from, what you've been through, and how you got to where you are, and where you're going in the near future, man. I
yeah, man.
really appreciate you joining us, and I can't let you get out of here without a big go tops, man.
Yeah, man. Go Tops, man. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All right, bro. Appreciate it.